We own a bowling alley, but my wife Lori's given away about $530,000 in one of these COVID federal grant scams. The playbook's always the same. The scammers tell Lori she's eligible for all this money, but there's a catch. She has to pay them money to get money, and then they increase the amount she can get as long as she increases the amount she gives them. Right now, she's talking to a guy that calls himself Melvin. He's going to give her $1 million, providing she gives him X amount of money.
He was supposed to be making a delivery, and then he called me that day and said, "We can't deliver because they're having trouble with your Social Security." And he wanted more money, and I think I've only given him maybe $1,500 or something in the last several months.
I don't think that's the case. I believe that Lori's given Melvin at least 20 grand. My wife has wired like $27,000 to China. She's used text messaging to take pictures of gift cards that she purchases. They then tell her, "Oh, they didn't work, you need to go get more." The original scammer was Ashley, and she got the majority of it, but after that, Lori went on and dealt with 6 or 7 other groups of people that are telling her the exact same playbook. I've had to make a number of moves to protect us. I've had to change the locks on the business just so she wouldn't go in without me. I've taken away her cell phone. I shut off our home phone. I've had to take away her email addresses and iPads and access to that. I've had to change the bank accounts, bank account signatures, things like that, just for her own protection, and mine, of course. She's desperate at this point to get this money, that she's been looking for payphones, to get on a payphone and put a quarter in it and make a phone call. There's been times where she understands and almost has a clarity saying, "I'm sorry that I put us in this position." But at the same time, that's very seldom. I'm basically the one that's making her life hard by taking away the access. She says that, I haven't given him that much. I'm like, was it enough to pay the gas bill? Was it enough to pay the electric bill? Put gas in the car? I don't care if it's $100.
It's just hard that I've lost my phone. If I'm home by myself, nobody can contact me.
As your husband, I hate being the guy that has to do this.
Now, you've been married for 16 years. You have 3 children together.
Correct.
And during this 16 years, has there been a dramatic change? Would this be something you would have predicted 10 years ago?
Not at all, no.
She wouldn't have fallen for this then?
Absolutely not, no. Highly intelligent, very good with the books and money, and
she handled all that.
Oh yeah, she handled all that at our business, and
she kept a grip on it.
Absolutely.
She in fact is a registered nurse.
Absolutely, yes.
When did you first notice that cognitively she was beginning to show changes, differences in her ability for reasoning, recall, rationality?
Probably about 2 years ago, I started really noticing forgetting people.
She would forget people that she knew,
Absolutely,
bowled with, spent a lot of time with, that you would think would be well entrenched in her memories.
Some for very many years.
Okay, and let's talk about her reasoning, just her common sense reasoning. These scammers, she gave vital information.
Total shock to me.
When you found out that she had given them bank account information, Social Security numbers.
Log in to the bank account information.
She gave them information where they could just get in the account and do what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
I thought the money that I sent was legit. The $500,000 in gift cards was all given to Ashley. I believed everything that she told me. My husband says they all have the same accent. They all sound American to me. He thinks that they're in a different country. The number that shows up is in Louisiana. First gal I talked to, Ashley, her phone said she was calling me from New York. With Ashley, they couldn't put the money in my account because it was too much money. When I talked to Melvin, he was supposed to be from a loan company. I gave Melvin all these gift cards to get money delivered, and I would give him $200 eBay cards. Then Melvin has called me and told me the person who was delivering the money took all the money, so I wasn't going to be able to get the money. There's always an excuse that Melvin has. Melvin told me I was going to get money 3 weeks ago. The last time I talked to him, he gave me a phone number for somebody who worked for the Oregon government. I talked to Mark about it. He took the phone number and ripped it all up. If I could just call this guy who supposedly works for the state government, I could confirm whether or not he really was working for the government. Mark had told me a few times, if he finds out I'm doing it again, make a phone call or send somebody money, he's going to want a divorce. And so I have tried not to let him know anything that I've been doing recently.
I'm curious, you said that once they were going to put money in your account, but it was too much.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an account that has a limit on how much money can be put in it?
Not that I know of. He was only going to put in like $30,000. And I couldn't believe that was too much money.
Did you see that as a red flag?
He wanted to charge me like $12,000 to get it delivered.
Okay, but it doesn't cost $12,000 to deliver money.
That's what he was asking me for
Was that a red flag?
about 8 or 9 months ago.
That it would cost $12,000 to deliver $30,000?
Mm-hmm.
Did that seem to you like, no, that
Yeah.
didn't make sense?
Didn't make sense.
Melvin is supposedly just helping you get your money back, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but you had given money to an Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you know how much?
$500,000.
Okay. And all along that way, there was nothing that said to you, I was supposed to get $50,000, right? That was the grant originally, correct?
Yeah, is that what you thought it was? I can't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah, that's what you said, is they said a grant. And during that time, the government was giving grants to businesses.
Yeah, it was right after the COVID thing started.
So I can understand how this could be within the realm of possibility, but did it ever make sense that you would somehow send $500,000 to get 50?
I don't know, she kept guaranteeing me I was going to get some money eventually. She was just convincing me, I believed her, that I was going to get the money back and everything.
And you trusted her that it was coming back?
I trusted her that it was coming back, and I
What was it about her that caused you to trust in her? Was she friendly? Was she helpful?
The way she talked to me and stuff. I didn't really know anything about scams and any of that stuff happening.
Were you scammed?
Evidently, I never got the money back.
You've been talking to this Melvin, and he said there was a man named Adam that can help you.
Right. And supposedly he worked for the state of Oregon, for the government.
And you said you were willing to meet him in person.
Well, I wanted to call him and talk to him, and I'd meet him in person and see where he was working and, you know, go meet him at his job.
Well, I've recently filed for a conservatorship to take control of the finances. I feel like that's our only option at this point in order to prevent you from like filing for loans and things like that.
I don't understand why it's necessary at all.
I have to shut down her credit. I have to make sure that she can't go and get any deeper.
It's just frustrating to me that you're not giving me any access to anything.
She's not happy with me. Most of the time is I've ruined her life, and it's horrible because this is my wife and I feel like a caretaker more than a husband at this point.
I'm done with all this.
One of the problems is if I gave you a phone back tomorrow, I don't think you're done.
I'm done.
Lori, how do you feel about him filing for a conservatorship?
Frustrated, irritated.
How's your memory?
My memory is terrible.
What's the worst part of it?
I have a hard time remembering a lot of things and remembering people's names. And I have a hard time remembering all of my grandchildren's names. This has been going on for the last few years. I have a family member who, what did she have?
Your mom? She had dementia. dementia and Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's disease. So I'm concerned that I might be heading that direction because I'm the age right now that she was when she was first diagnosed with Alzheimer's.
When you were here today, did you know who I was?
Well, I knew that you were going to be the TV man and stuff, but
The TV man?
I've
TV
never,
man, yeah.
I've never seen your shows, or I didn't know anything about it.
You say you don't understand why Mark needs a conservatorship, but you have said to him many times that you really couldn't understand or recognize that you were or are being scammed, that it was or is a scam, that you've given personal information to unverified strangers, that you've been deceitful and given over $500,000, $530,000 to scammers behind his back, secretly used lines of credit on the business and the home. You gave scammers the children's phone numbers to contact you when he took your phone away, stole money from the register at work, locks chains to protect. You've stolen money from the children's bank accounts, maxed out 7 credit cards, stole Mark's jar of change, borrowed money from customers, employees, neighbors, secretly used neighbors' phones. You look for pay phones to use so you can contact these people. You still insisted on talking with Melvin. You want to meet with Melvin's referral in person. You've got memory issues, as you just said. You had a car accident, a serious accident, right?
To the car, yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean.
Absolutely,
Really,
totaled it.
it's just tragic what's happened here. They're going to prey upon her until they bleed her dry. Would you agree?
100%. They will continue to prey on her to take every last penny that she has because they don't care.
Yeah.
And I want to touch a little for your viewers in the audience on these gift cards. Gift cards is like handing cash over. The gift card scheme has been going on for decades because that's not traceable. They hand over the money to you on the gift card and they're out buying things or cashing or doing whatever they're doing. So that scam has been around forever. If anybody asks for gift cards, run.
You've been to a neurologist.
Yes.
They've done the scan and they have identified for you that based on history and based on her current profile, that she is showing signs of dementia.
Correct. They call it the Alzheimer's side of dementia.
The Alzheimer's side of dementia.
Yes.
That's not going to go away.
Right.
You have to start making a plan for dealing with somebody that can't remember her grandchildren's names,
Right.
can't remember people that she's bowled with every week
Right.
at your bowling alley, can't remember wrecking a car, can't remember more and more as time goes along. And I'm sorry to emphasize that for you, but the sooner you start to make a plan for that and consult the experts that have helped diagnose that for you, and continue to monitor it so you know what that phase is.
Right.
Because what can happen next is she walks out the door, and if it's in the middle of the winter, you can find her 3 miles down the road with no coat.
That's a very, very realistic thing that could happen.
And it's very, very possible that any day now, she will not be able to find her way home.
Right.
And so you have to start planning and realize this is the reality of our future. So it's not just protecting her from the scam, but protecting her from the environment
Right.
and from a cognitive set of skills that are diminishing and
Right.
on the decline. And I didn't want to talk about this in front of her
Sure.
because
I understand.
I don't want to upset her.
It's a
And
tough subject.
hopefully, some things can be done to slow that curve, diminish that curve. Breakthroughs are being made every day, and hopefully things can turn around. But in the meantime, you need to acknowledge and plan for that and understand she hasn't done this irresponsibly.
Right.
She's done this unknowingly.
Right.
She gave away over $500,000.
Mark says his wife, Lori, has stolen money from the children's bank accounts.
My memory is terrible.
She hasn't done this irresponsibly. She's done this unknowingly.
New Dr. Phil. Check your local listings.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.